Getting right to it, opening up this one here. A couple of little normal looking square fans. No specific information showing up on that label, so the reason I wanted these, in the old computers I'm getting up and running, I specifically have a 486 and it uses a fan of this size on the CPU. So this is 4 centimeters square, and the fan on the 486, sometimes it doesn't start when I power on and I have to kickstart it. So even if I don't get much life out of these, just for the occasional power on, I figured this is something I want. And this says magnifying lens on the description. So I think it's an LED magnified, yeah, a little bit squished up. Looks to be intact. And if I read this correctly, we have a small magnifier and a larger one. So maybe a 45 times magnification at 22 millimeter diameter, 3 times magnification over 75 millimeter. And I recently got a smaller version of this, which currently that one ended up on a different workbench. So I liked it enough that I wanted more of these because they are useful, it turns out. And I thought I'm going to get an even bigger diameter lens because, again, for camera work here, having things show up on camera while I can actually look at it at the same time, that's really what I'm looking to achieve. This one is described as connectors. I think I know what it is, and there's supposed to be 3 packages of them in here. I don't know, this is all taped around. It looks like they did bubble wrap and then packing tape. Or are there 4 packages of connectors? I don't remember now. I thought I ordered 3. Now I got to figure out how to separate all this. These are 4 identical kits of 0.1 inch female headers. So the reason I have kits and 4 of them, I was running out of the 0.1 inch headers in general, and all I really had were rows of 40 of them that I would cut down to size with a pair of wire cutters or something. When you do this with the female headers and you line it up and cut off the number of pins you want, first it's a lot harder to make the cut exactly where you need so you have the openings there properly available. You usually have to sacrifice at least 1 pin where you make the cut, and then you have excess material you've got to trim down and try to make it a clean final result. So I decided it's time I actually get a kit of various sizes, and then I have a good chance of having the number of pins I want on hand. You can stack these together to make a longer header easily, so I ended up getting 4 of these kits, at least at the time I bought them from this seller. That was the cheapest way to go. I was thinking, ideally, I should decide exactly what specific pin counts I want for a few different things, like a Raspberry Pi typical length, or certain Arduino certain lengths that I'll probably want to put on breakout boards, and just buy a bundle of just that size, and it will be cheaper. But I actually looked at various listings and worked out the cost per single pin position just to normalize it. Buying these kits was actually cheaper per pin than trying to get a bulk discount, buying a whole bunch of separate listings just in a dedicated size. Another item I could get from AliExpress, but it was available on Amazon for about the same price without having to wait. In this case, at least, it's a reverb tank of this certain part number. I think you can get the same part number on AliExpress. Otherwise, there's similar looking part numbers, and there are different designs. It's a spring reverb tank for audio. So that's what the label says. And so this has an RCA jack for out and another one for in. Then it just has these standoff mounting feet, so you can put a bolt right through here and mount this to something. And there's little attachments on the corners here with little springs, which create this floating mount for this metal bracket inside. So it's suspended in the four corners by springs. And then it's got, in this case, two main springs going from one transducer to the other. So audio will come in here, and it has this coil here. So the transducer takes the audio and essentially it sends it through the springs, and then it gets picked up on the other side by this other transducer and converted for this output audio, and you end up getting reverberation as an audio effect. There's different ones that have 3 springs or even 6 springs, I think, and there's smaller or larger, more elaborate ones. And there's different kinds of reverb aside from springs. So this one is just a generic thing I bought, and I want to try to get it to work just to see how it works. So I'm going to need some sort of a driver circuit. We need to be able to generate an amplified audio signal to drive this, and then pick it up and condition it, combine it with the original audio, so we have the wet reverberation effect audio and the dry unaffected original signal, and you can control how much reverb you get, things like that. So this is just something I'm going to be working on over the next few months, hopefully. And now the last thing is a whole lot of smaller items. I had an opportunity to accept a donation of all kinds of parts from a fellow parts hoarder and RadioShack fan. So I've got all kinds of things, including this unopened, it looks like, universal headphone amplifier, Archer circuit board from RadioShack. Apparently this used to go for around $9. I don't know that it was supposed to be a kit of parts, but it has the etched PCB. So stuff like this, I'm probably going to keep it in the package for a long time before I ever open it up and investigate what's exactly in this kit or what the circuit would look like. But aside from things like this, a few random things. This looks like it was some sort of a big capacitor. It looks like it had a sticker of $2.95, so probably some surplus thing. 15 volts, 27,000 microfarads. So I don't know, was this part of a power supply or something? Of course, being electrolytic and who knows how old, I wouldn't really want to put that to too much use, but sitting on a shelf or something, it's art. And of course, there's a lot of miscellaneous stuff. This is like, I think this came out of a phone, because I think this is a mechanical bell. It looks like we have a capacitor for the phone line, a bridge rectifier, and a phone jack. Would be a big giveaway. So maybe I can even just put this mechanical bell to use. I'll certainly use this capacitor for something. Not going to turn that down. There's a lot of unopened new old stock RadioShack parts. This looks way before my time, this RadioShack logo. Is this even the 70s or earlier? I don't know. A 3-pack of 1 amp fast-acting fuses, 69 cents. And this packaging style is also before my time. Now this says $2.99, but the actual package says $1.79. 5 Allen Bradley micro potentiometers, so those must be good quality if they still work well and are clean inside. Now this goes on and on and on, so I'll just skim through here. A lot of these other classic looking RadioShack labels I've never seen anything like. A 1 meg pot, couple of resistors, potentiometer knobs of various types, and this phono plugs and jacks, set of 8, $2.29. These actually look like really old school, the kind of thing you would see sort of in an old radio or something that you take apart. So I think this stuff might have been held onto for repair parts, things like that. And I think I had this set of red and green incandescent, I think, lamps. some alligator clips, some other screw-in incandescent lamp indicators, 8-ohm L-pad, realistic, $6. Controls any 8-ohm speaker volume, 3 watts, continuous, 10 watts, peak. So I suppose you could use that as an in-wall volume control or something. A header assortment, 0.1 inch headers, male. I guess I'll add those to my collection. It's already been opened and taped back together. And more audio jacks and connectors from what looks like longer ago. A slide potentiometer, fuse holder, more audio connectors. There's a bunch of Archer switches, so toggle switches, push switches of all kinds. There's little push button here. I think I used to have these. Actually, this is interesting. So another RadioShack slide switch, but I don't know if we can see it. That's like old school looking, this circular slide switch tube. Yeah, that looks like something I would have pulled out of an old receiver or such. And a stereo speaker selector. So you can go between radio and tape with all of that wiring. So that, I don't know exactly what use that had. It must have been designed specifically for something. And it looks like a bunch of ICs. Okay, let's look at those. So for $15, this old clock calendar clock radio chip. So we can build a clock radio or something, and there's all the, I guess, data sheet for it. 4000 series, okay, $1.59. Quad bilateral switch, is that a 40? Yeah, 4066. It's upside down, but it's in there. I got lots of these. 4011 quad 2-input NAND gate. On sale for 99 cents. A wire wrap socket, 40 pin dip. I never did do wire wrapping. Never too late to start. 16K dynamic RAM, 4116. I don't know what that would have been purchased for. A bunch of discrete components, a 100 pico ceramic capacitor, 0.1 polyester capacitor, 47 pico, 4-position and 8-position dip switch sort of stuff, 220 micro electrolytic, 0.1 micro, 69 cents on clearance. Wire wound power resistors, more wire wound resistors, and an assortment of trimmer pots for $2.99. You never know when you're going to need it. Ugh, more stuff. A neon lamp, in case you need to replace one of those somewhere. Multi-turn pot, 1K. $1.55 on special from $3. 2 common anode LED display. Tricolor LED for $2.49. Red, green, and yellow, but it's only 2 legs, so I guess it means if you put AC, it turns on both red and green alternately and gives you yellow. If you want to build some computer cables, we got some 9-pin D-sub male, 14-pin chip socket, $1.79 for 2, or 1 28-pin, $1.29 for 2 8-pin dip sockets. Heavy-duty noise eliminator kit for $7 for high-power auto stereo and CB use up to 4 amps at 13.8 volts. So it's got the data sheet in there, I guess, something to do with car audio CB stuff to get rid of noise. Some more toggle switches with colorful lever jackets. Single pole, double throw. Some ICs that are EEPROM looking, and I'm seeing 27128. So there's a handful of EEPROM stuff out of the blue that is really going to be useful. Then there's a lot of stuff in bags. I have 3 different generations of RadioShack style bags. This one has LEDs in it. or incandescent indicator lamps again. So this is all stapled together. Various replacement bulbs or fuses. So I think some of this may just be automotive stuff, and some of it may be home audio stuff and in-between stuff. An assortment of diffused LEDs. An individual red LED for $2. This is $3 for 20 LEDs. It looks like it's been opened. And this is a bag of what looks like various diodes. 15 trigger diodes. Don't know what that exactly is, but it's got some data sheet. Oh, yeah. Trigger diode, or diac, is an NPN or PNP structured device. That's going to be interesting to look into. Germanium diodes, $1.89. 1N34A. That's interesting. Those are getting set aside right now. Maybe some guitar audio effects stuff. I wonder, I don't suppose there's any rare transistors laying around this stuff. I'm putting this aside. Miscellaneous looking modern stuff. Switching diodes, so 4148/1N914. Same thing. Yep, 51N914s. $3. Looks like some experimenting was going on here in the Zener category. So we got a bunch of different diodes here. Just Zeners in RadioShack packaging. Silicon controlled rectifiers. Couple of packages. A triac. I think this person had bought the whole store just in case you need to do a repair. There's a bag called voltage regulators, so I'll just look for the RadioShack branded ones. $3, assorted 5 voltage regulators. Again, a 15 volt regulator, 7815, and an assortment of 10 regulators. Looks like this is more classic. For the $3, they used to give you 10 regulators, then they only gave you 5. So, in case you're going to do some modular phone cable repair, you need a crimp tool, still in the package, and an IC inserter and extractor kit. Another bundle of various LEDs. Here's an assortment of 20 LEDs. There's so many things here. Oh yeah, look at that. Assortment of 20, assortment of 20. Just flip through and find what you need. Oh, those mini lamps. I used to have those. Now there's another era of RadioShack bags, and this one's called Timer. I don't know what's in there yet. Well, of course, Timer is in there. 555, new in the package, $3. 556 for $3 as well. Dual 555. A little relay for marked down from $5 to $2. Another 555. You can never have too many. Oh, a TLC 555 low power timer with a huge data sheet. And another. And we lost one to the floor. 12 volt relay. That sounds suspiciously automotive, but who knows? Oh, transducer stuff. Small relay, small relay. Now this active components, that's another place I used to shop. A color TV video modulator chip, MC1372, 14 pins, $2.40. Not sure if that's going to have any practical use, but why not? LM3916 dot and bar display LED driver. Oh, programmable sound generator chip. Hey, it was, is that $20? And it was down to 8 something and then 570. So the AY38910A. I think I bought this on AliExpress or something within the past several years because I always wanted this from the catalog, never got it, wouldn't have known what to do with it. And the one I bought, I never used so far. I don't know what to do with it or if it even works. But now this one should work, and it has the data sheet in it. That's good. That's staying somewhere that I'm going to use near term, I think. And for $5 or marked down to $3, a calculator chip. If you want to make your own calculator, type CT5002. Does that have a data sheet in it? That's interesting. Capacitors. I used to have this $3 assortment of 100 ceramic discs. 4700 micro 35 volt axial electrolytic for $4.50. You wouldn't put that in equipment or anything, but on the workbench, if it's not blown up or anything, leaking, use it in a controlled manner for fun. Make a 555 circuit. Another assortment of 100 ceramic disc capacitors. Are these all the same? They look the same. And did we see this more modern era RadioShack bag yet in this video? I need to broaden the camera view a bit. So if you need to make your own 4-pin or 6-pin or 5-pin DIN connector cables, now you can. There's a bridge rectifier, 25 amp, 50 volt, $3.29. Looks robust. 60-piece epoxy 1 amp rectifier. 1N4004 rectifier. Another bridge rectifier, 6 amp, 50 volt. 25 amp, 50 volt rectifier bridge. And so on. Some more heavy duty rectifiers. A bag of resistors. So just your standard packs of a few resistors at a time. Or an even bigger pack, 100 half-watt resistors, bunch of different values, $5. And the smaller 1/8 watt resistors, a few values in there. And I just remember buying a lot of these, like 1K, 10K packs of 5 of common values for projects. There's no sense going through everything. Then there's a box labeled transistors, and there's your typical 2N3055 big power transistors with a data sheet, NPN. Looks like these were in use a lot. There's something else I would have bought back in those days. 15 PNP transistors, 3906. I would have mostly bought 3904s. So unopened original package. A 741 op amp in this metal can style. I never had stuff like that. I'm going to put this to use. N-channel FET. Huh. Oh, 3819. That's a standard part. I've gotten some of these on AliExpress. I think they do operate as FETs, but I don't know if they're in spec. Hey, now I've got an authentic one as a benchmark if it's not damaged. And here, Code Practice Oscillator, 99 cents. It's a transistor circuit on a board, ready to go, I guess, with some sort of a data sheet. Operational instructions. That's interesting. I don't know if that was ever in a catalog that I saw. Stereo power amplifier, BA5406, and a 5.8 watt audio amplifier, TA7205AP. Yeah, this is endless. There's all kinds of stuff. And I just found some more NPN and PNP. Now, there's a lot more stuff too, but I think that's a pretty good representation for now. So this is going to keep me busy sorting through all this stuff for a while, and I'm going to have to figure out which things am I going to be anxious to open up and put to use, and which things do I want to hang on to for nostalgic purposes unless I absolutely need it. Either way, it looks like I have a lot of work to do here. So, thanks to the donator of these parts, thanks to Patreon and channel supporters for regular ongoing support, there's got to be something I can come up with to build with all of this stuff, so I better go get to work.